Hello, everybody. How you doing? Now I don't got. I'm gonna pop Eva up here in just a second, and really, this is a nice frumpy way to start, but it is what it is. It's kind of how life goes, right? You think you got everything figured out and in a perfect little bow, and things shift. So, first of all, welcome to Thursday of your life. Thank you for being here. We have been talking about miracles. We've been talking about manifesting. We've been talking about money. We've been talking about, whatever story that's in between where you are now and where you want to go, and realizing that somebody's unmuted, Keith, realizing that 100%, it's just impossible for you not to have what you want unless you get in the way. I mean, can we have real talk today? Yeah, can we have real talk today? Because it's just impossible for any of us to not have exactly what we want, except for the fact that we are insisting on whatever our block is real. And so Eva was here yesterday. I'm going to pop her up real quick before I get into today's training. And I want you to hold on to this in your heart. If things are not moving fast enough for you, how many guys things are not moving fast enough? Put fast in the chat. Put the word fast in the comment section, the chat, if things are not moving fast enough for you in your life, in your business, and it's a little irritating, like you're just ready for this thing to fly, right? Were you here yesterday? If you were here yesterday, what opened up for you? And then did you do anything with it? Right? Because if something opened up for you, it means a door opened. Did you walk through it? All right. So Eva, what opened up for you yesterday?
Well, yesterday was really impactful because it talked to my heart about the things that I always do. I mean, I procrastinate a lot. I was listening to, what was his name? Oh, Michael. He was on point telling things about what you need to do and stop procrastinating yourself, stop thinking about it and overthinking things, right? For me, I've been trying to, and I say trying because that's my old mindset. I have always tried to do things.
It's okay.
But he inspired me to think about the things like, what is the vision instead of just goals that I have to pursue, right? So right now I have my son who is graduating high school. He is senior, and I didn't do anything prior to he's going to high school to budget for it. And it breaks my heart to think that he wouldn't be able to go to where he wants to go because there was no funds. And I think it inspires me to think I have to do something drastic and start doing it now because it's May is around the corner. And it kind of put me in a position where I am looking at it as a complete, I cannot fail him.
That's really powerful. And do you know how many people are watching right now that can relate to you? How many guys can relate to her? Say me in the chat, right? How many guys can relate to her? Put me in the chat. So now, do you know there's another group of people who are saying in their head, don't be so hard on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say something to you guys. It is really critical that we do not pop people's bubble that creates urgency. Okay, this is part of her vision as a mom. Mm-hmm. And we got to stop removing the pressure from people's lives, because it's the pressure that created this diamond, right? It's the pressure that created this woman. It's the pressure that created you, created me. It's how you walk through the pressure that you know your character and you know what you're capable of. And we have developed a world now that, people who are gay used to be condemned and now they're not. People who are Christian used to be afraid to say that they're Christian. Now they're speaking out. You guys get what I'm saying? It's like we live in this world that depending on what room you're in, it's like, don't rock the boat. Don't make people feel uncomfortable if you're transgender in a room of Catholics and Christians. Go be your badass self. You know what I mean? But be open enough that you may or may not be on the right path. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Be open enough that you may or may not be on the right path. Do you know that when I was in high school, there's 3 guys I can think of that I thought I was going to marry. There are 3 guys that I can think of And one of them, I was absolutely certain for sure. Like, he was like the guy that I watched at the roller skating rink, and it was like, he was like amazing. And I was so crazy in love with him. And we dated, but we never had a bad breakup or anything like that. I dated him for 3.5 years. And I share this with you guys because I thought I was going to marry this guy and realized he wasn't even close to as ambitious as I really was when I got my wings underneath me. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a model. He's like, he just wasn't as ambitious. We would have been totally on two different paths. I'm really thankful that my mother didn't listen to the peer pressure out there of listening to me. Do you get what I'm saying? And so now you know where I stand. I think parents should rip the screens right out of their kids' hands. I think they should lock them up and put them in safes. I think they should walk through the irritation of teaching your child how to have good behavior. And I'm also very well aware it's not easy. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody's saying it's easy, right? I'm obviously, I have my faith. I have friends who are gay. I coach people who are gay, transgender, whatever. Like, do they need my approval? I hope to God not. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really hope they don't need my approval to go after what they're doing. And I hope we can still respect each other, love each other, and help each other get through this life. I don't know about you guys, but I can tell you my parents have never approved of everything that I've done. They didn't want me to move to the United States from Canada with $500 in my pocket. I was irresponsible as far as they were concerned. And I did it anyway. Why? Because there was something inside me that, even though I was a people pleaser and I was worried about what people said and I had worthiness issues, there was enough people around me that had good leadership that coached me that were like, you got to do it. And one of them started with my best friend, who said, get on the plane, and if we fail, we go back home. Right? It's like, I share this with you because I think you should absolutely go after it. And there's many ways to go after it. Like, if I think, when do you need to have money for him?
Well, school starts in September, right? No, August here in Florida. So, and I am totally honest, I have nothing in my mind other than.
So here's some of the things I think. The only reason why is because you're under pressure, right?
Exactly.
So what probably happens, what happens to you under pressure, and I need you guys to go in the chat so that, not to make her feel better, but to make her realize she's not alone. Okay? Because the feeling of alone is not from heaven, right? It's just not. That feeling of isolation alone often comes with shame, guilt, all this other stuff, which there is nothing productive about that. Does that make sense? Like, there is nobody watching right now that doesn't have something that is shameful, guilty, they weren't good at, they said the wrong thing. You know why a lot of people turn from religion is because religious people are hanging out in groups of people and getting stronger together. And so what they often do is, if you're not like me, but is that a religion thing or is that a human thing? It's a human thing. Mm-hmm. It's a human thing, you guys. It's a human thing. When we get in groups of people, right, what happens is we get stronger because we're out of isolation. Right? We get stronger. And so as we get stronger, a lot of times we think we're right, but we don't realize the way to marketing to money, movements to missions, finding your solution to any problem. It's going to require us to be in unity with people, which means that if you believe that you're right and I believe that I'm right, then we better know how to communicate with each other, that we don't throw up the walls. And if we throw up the walls, then guess what? We aren't going to hang out with people who are exactly like us. And guess what that means? Some of you guys understand that you make the amount of money of the sum of the 5 closest people you spend your time with. You've heard it, but you've done nothing about changing your 5 friends. Why? Because you're freaking comfortable, right? And you have no idea what you're missing. So what else goes with that is a mindset of parenting, of bank accounts, of what intensity looks like, what freedom looks like, are you guys following me here? Yes? Okay. So when you go to some of the people often that you hang out with, they often deal with pressure the same way. Do you guys hear that? They often have a similar way of going. They might be stronger, less stronger, but there's usually a similar way of processing. That's why you hang out, right? And so I have this crazy little, challenge with myself. And my challenge is every month I either take a relationship or I go deeper in a relationship, and it's 5 a month. Right? And so I want either 5 new people a month or go deeper with some people that are not like my besties. Do you know what I mean? Not like the people, like, I'm very, very comfortable with my friends Kim and Tom. We spend a lot of time together. I'm still very stretched with Sherry and Troy because we're just spending a lot of time together now in Puerto Rico, and we're really complementary to each other's lives and marriages and businesses. But there's some people in this community that are so far ahead of me, and it's because of the way they think. It is because of the way that they think. Do you think there's a shortage of cash in this world? There's no shortage of cash. In fact, if I sent a message out in the WhatsApp groups in this community or in the other community that I lived in, said, hey, I'm doing this project and it's got this type of return on investment, or I'm willing to pay this return on investment, anybody interested? Then do you not think that I would raise money by the end of the day? I could raise money while I'm sitting here on this live. In fact, last night, I had another couple $100,000 wired to me.
Wow.
Right? I was just flipping through my phone. I'm not saying this to brag or boast, because there was a time I wouldn't have had the courage for that. And there was a time I'd sit in Starbucks and say, I don't know anybody. And that was my own damn fault. And it does not take long. We teach doing interview series, telesummits. How do you think I built my network in my industry? Telesummits. I interviewed people in my industry that I admired that already had big followings, and then I invested in some of those relationships of people that I was gravitated towards, and then that opened me up to certain masterminds that I paid for to go to, right? Even when I couldn't afford it, and I made sure that I could pay the bill because I would make the money for the next bill. Did you guys see what I'm saying? Like, that's how I crawled out. I don't know how you're all crawling out, but I know you can crawl out. And it doesn't have to take 3 years. Right? You can crawl out. So a couple of things I think about right now is, what is the link of the team that we work with, Keith? I can't hear you.
For what team?
The funding.
Oh, 7-figure funding?
No, what is it?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a link on that. Okay, have you done 50 Ways to Fund Money?
No,
I'm talking to you.
No.
Have you ever done 50 Ways to Fund Money?
No.
Okay, so let's play with it. Everybody, I want you to do this with me right now, okay? Okay, if there's 50 ways to find the money, remember, you don't have to do any of these. And even if you've done this process before, do it again, right? 50 ways to find money. So who in the next 48 hours could give you money? Who has money that you know of? I want you to open your phone and start flipping.
Trying to see. I don't know. Probably have some family members.
No, flip through your phone. Give me some names.
My aunt.
Everybody, do this exercise. Don't let the pressure take you out. Just play with it. You don't have to do anything, I promise. Just play with it. Are you?
Probably. I know. I'm just thinking about who, and I'm obviously you think my dad or my aunt probably are the two people that I can think of that maybe will be able to help me out.
Okay. Who else? Don't worry, you guys. What's important is I don't want you to edit. Like, you don't ever have to call them. Okay. You got to get your juices going, right? You got to get yourself out of, because what happens is, I don't know if I think the pocket coaching actually went out on this earlier when I was sharing with people. It's like, our thinking patterns, while we're stopping ourselves. Did anybody hear the pocket coaching? I think they might have sent it out where I was sharing that one of my clients yesterday called me, actually it was this morning, was voxering back and forth with me, and she said, we're thinking about moving to the Caribbean or Portugal or one of these places for tax reasons because they're going to exit a company. And I said, and she said, but I really have 2.5 years before like our kids out of the house, right? And I was like, you can't think like that. You would miss the boat in Puerto Rico. Do you know what I mean? Like if you wait 2 years, if you wait 1.5 years, Puerto Rico, you're gonna miss the increase of pricing here, right? You just are, you're gonna miss it. And so I said, it's better for you to come here, see if you like it, put offers in on properties while things are suppressed, get something that has a high rent, like in Plantation, which has got a doorman and, it cash flows. Right? And so it's paying for your mortgage, it's cash flowing, or you do a seller finance, it's still paying for that. And then if you decide in 2.5 years, you want to move to Portugal, or you want to move to Costa Rica, or you can sell that property. Right? But if you ended up wanting to come here, you've hedged your bets and you have a nice chunk of change sitting in your house that you bought here, even though you didn't live in it. Does that make sense? So I'm like, find where you want to live now. Don't go find, did anybody hear that pocket coaching? Did it go out?
Yes.
No, maybe so. Okay, so did it? Yes? Okay. So I want you to not have just listened to that pocket coaching. I want you to apply that. What in your life right now are you thinking about later when you either have the funds or you have the kids are out of the house, or, like all the stars lined up. What is that? And I'm going to recommend, the reason why you're avoiding making that decision and giving yourself space is actually a habit of lack of urgency. Okay, because that's not how high performers operate. High performers do exactly what Ash and I did, and they get on a plane, they say, I don't know if I'm going to go there or not go there, but I'm going to have a great vacation and I'm going to look at real estate. Right? And if we don't want to be there, we won't go there. But we're just going to go check it out. But we're going to go look at real estate. Does that make sense? And then I'm going to tell you, we barely laid by the pool. We played in the pool with Zach a couple times and we looked at real estate. And then we're like, we're moving 6 weeks later. We didn't anticipate that. That was not a husband-wife conversation. That was, let's go. You get what I'm saying? And that never would have, I could have never bet that my husband would do that because he was a hell no. He wasn't a maybe, sort of. He was an absolute no. But he agreed to come here and come see Puerto Rico, look at real estate. And if at some point we wanted to move and we both liked it, we would come. He was open to that conversation. By the way, I was not a yes. You know what I mean? There was nothing in me that was it's not like, I'm moving to Switzerland and I ski every day in the winter. That is not what was happening. It was a stressful situation, which creates diamonds. Stop taking pressure off people. It was a stressful situation around taxes. And we needed to make a decision. We couldn't keep ignoring it. Does that make sense, you guys? Yes? Okay. So your dad, your aunt, who else? You could go to fundyourfreedomnow.com, fundyourfreedomnow.com, fundyourfreedomnow.com. You can go that, write that down, right? Write that down. You could, what is it called? It's called a fraction loan. You could do a fraction loan. You could look them up. And those are typically you can use them for marketing, things like that. Or you could use them in your business and then pay them right back. They're for you could do hard money lending. People are so afraid of these high interest rates. Do you know that when I started my company, I paid 30% in a year? Wow. And I didn't actually I used that money to live so that it could put me in a position where I could manage my mind to focus on my business. So I used that money to give myself some breathing time. Do you guys get what I'm saying? I released some of my fear around being able to eat, stuff like that. And so I handled it, right? But do you think I would have went and got that money if the pressure would have been released by my parents?
No.
No way. If my parents would have wrote in and just like picked up the tab, I never would have figured that out. What am I doing right now? Raising capital. Where did I learn that? When I started. Do you get what I'm saying? Like sometimes we don't even know what's coming down the pipeline or how big we're going to go. So you got 0% credit cards or 2 or 3%, right? They're out there, guys. They're out there. You could sell your car and go without a car. I did that. I did that for a year. So I didn't have a car payment, and I used that payment towards my business coach. So I took what I was paying in my car payment and I flipped it and I used that it didn't quite cover my business coach, but I knew if I could make my car payment, I could make her payment. Does that make sense? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure it out for a year. My time I had a boyfriend. I was like, I'm just gonna lean on my boyfriend, see what happens. I'm gonna go through whatever I walk through, but like, that's what I'm gonna do. Right? And then I almost forgot to go get another car because it was so easy to be without a car. But it just helped me see a way through. Are you guys playing with your own situation right now? It's the lack of urgency that hurts us, y'all. It really is. You can't just keep letting another day go by without solving your problem. Okay, so I want you to make a list of 50 ways to find the money in 48 hours to 72 hours. Okay? Yep. I want you to walk around your life and I want you to inventory the things that truly you could sell. I watched a guy sell a drum set, and that's how he paid for 5 months of his coaching with a friend of mine. And he ended up becoming that my friend's top success story. And he was living in a car. He forgot he had a really expensive drum set that he had put in storage when things weren't so tough. What was that? For me, I should have sold my grandma's cashmere coat. And believe it or not, with all the moves that I've done, like in my 20s and 30s, it's like, I have no idea where that coat is. You know what I mean? Like, same with, I had a mink coat. I have no idea where that mink coat is. Right? Like, it's like, I have no idea. Do you know how much those things are? A lot. I have no idea. It went into dry cleaning somewhere to be held over the winter so it didn't lose its fur. And I have no idea where it went. Right? I lost a diamond necklace. I had a carat diamond necklace. I was in Vegas and I was young and dumb and I was drinking and playing not slots, but like a little thing on the bar with a bunch of my friends, and my necklace, it fell and I took it and I put it next to me. I left it there. Right? Carat. Oh. Right? My grandma's. Right? It's like, I think about how quickly that went. Do you know what my grandma would have been proud of? She would have been so proud of me if I went and got top dollar for that. She was an entrepreneur. Like, do you think she cared about sentimental? No, we do. And I get it. It's important. I get it. But you know what? She would rather have me invested in a business coach and actually gotten on the cover of Forbes, or Success Magazine is about to release an article on me right now. And she'd rather see that than me be broke with a diamond around my neck. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like, she'd rather me invest in myself and I know she would. Right? And then for me to be the person that was like broke with a diamond around my neck because it was sentimental. Are you guys hearing what I'm saying? Yes? Okay. So Eva, tomorrow's Friday. I want you to go just be courageous and go out there. I want you to go to fundmyfreedomnow.com, apply. You don't have to take it. I want you to apply. I want you to write a list of 50 things before you go to bed. You cannot go to bed without the 50 things. And I want you to hang, and this is for not just her, right, guys? Right, gals and girls? And I want you to hang the 50 ways on the wall. And realize you don't necessarily have to do any of them, but when you look at that every day, you cannot keep lying to yourself and say, there's no options. The question is now here's a big question y'all should write down on the same piece of paper on the 50 ways to find the money. what do I need to do to feel safe to take that money? Because the hesitation is a lack of safety somewhere. Does that make sense? And so what y'all will do, I'm going to pop you off, Eva. Do you agree that you're going to do this? So you can come back, and I want you tomorrow to get on the Zoom, and I want you to raise your hand immediately. Whether you made it or you failed, I don't care. We celebrate mistakes and failures in this house. It's a big thing. It's a big thing that Ash and I were just talking about this the other day, right, babe? It's like I would rather go after something than sit and give an excuse on why it's not there, right? You know why things are not in our life? Because we don't have the freaking courage to go after it. But we need to figure out, how do I find my courage? We find your courage to say, like, what do I need to do, or what needs to be true for me to be able to receive that money? How many of you guys think maybe, I'm gonna pop you off, Eva. How many of you guys think maybe that you don't have the income you want yet? You might have good income, you might have no income, but you don't have the income you want yet because possibly what I just said rings true for you. There's a part of you a little fearful to bring it in. And so you work so freaking hard. Or maybe you don't work so hard and you need me to come in there and like get in there. But like most of you guys, or many of you guys, work so hard, or you've been working at something for a while, or at least thinking about it for a while, and it hasn't come true yet. Do you think there might be a little bit of work to be done around your courage? And so you got to figure out there's no way I would go borrow money for it. Now, I have a lot of friends who have the courage to borrow money and not know how to use it. But there are people who literally, they never quit and they never lose at anything. Like I'm thinking about one of them right now. I'm going to see him next month, right? It's like he will borrow money. And I have two of them now in my head. Now I have two, my mind's found two, right? They will borrow money and they will take that money and they will go grow with it, even if they don't know exactly where they're going to deploy it. Does that make sense? Me, I need to know if I'm going to take your money, where am I going to put it and how is it safe? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, because I got to pay you back. Right? And that's a big thing for me. And so if I put down 50 ways to find the money and any of that was taking money, especially from people, I like to know how I'm going to be able to pay that person back. Does that make sense, you guys? And so then I know what to do. So how means I need a reliable way of, if I take that money, it needs to be invested in something that's going to produce income. Is this helping at all? So now I go, well, what could I put this in that would produce income? A webinar, a challenge, a coach, whatever, right? My first investment was a coach. Now my investments are straight around marketing. Does that help at all? So it doesn't mean you have to follow my order at all. It really just depends on what you can see. It doesn't mean you have to follow my order. Okay, cool? Yes? So now I'm going to pop another person up here, and I want to ask you, raise your hand if you want me to pop you up. Okay, fine. If you don't raise your hand, I'll just pop you up. Okay, Crystal Bell, thank you. Oh, now everybody's popping up. I love it. Okay, Crystal Bell, how are you?
Good. I'm excited. I got my summit March 1st. I just did the list build. I recorded my video yesterday. So I'm so excited. I'm working on doing my $47 VIP upgrade. And
Great.
I'm excited. My question is, if I offer the 47 VIP it's going to be lifetime access to the recording, a free coaching call with me, and a Marco Polo chat with me. If I offer that after,
some people might not know what a Marco Polo chat is, just FYI. So just be careful. I know, but a confused mind does nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you guys, like, be careful with some of the language because a lot of times people don't know. Okay. So what's your question?
So my question is, if I offer that after as well as before,
That's
is
fine.
that still good? Because I'm going to do
That's
it.
fine. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Sorry. Keith, that's a no-go for me. And so, okay. So so the answer for your question is that's totally fine. Now, the question I have for you is, what have you created this week from listening to some of these lives? What has shifted for you?
That's good. I created my video and that really shifted for me because I was in like victim mode. I couldn't find the video script. And then I was like, I have ADHD. Like, I can't do this. I can't find it. And I'm like, if I can't find it, I can just Google video script for Facebook ad. Like, I'm going to do this. And I just recorded it and it ended up being super cute. And then I recorded my upgrade video and I was like in the flow yesterday, like posting in LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all these things. And I'm
See how
not
that unleashed it? Did you guys see that? Do you see how she unleashed the creativity? Right? The creativity is critical because the creativity means that, do you guys realize every time we're in creation mode, we are solving like all these micro problems. And the longer we sit behind a problem, it gets big. Right? And as that problem gets big, what happens is, depending on our leadership, our trauma, which is why I told you guys join hclnow.com, right? Because of our trauma, some of us, when a problem starts to get big or a block starts to get big, we will justify why we can't get it done, or we will start telling everybody how we do everything in the world. Like, I'm so busy doing this, and we get blamey or victimy or whatever, as Michael Strassner yesterday called it, a story, right? We start to really justify why it is that we don't have what we have, right? And so when that happens, that is just a call response from yourself on the fact that you didn't unlock yourself somewhere. And what does it take to unlock? Resourcefulness. So she's like, I'm just going to Google the script. Soon as she told herself that, she unleashed herself. And when you unleash yourself, you see how the chat's Marco Polo, people want to know what Marco Polo is. You don't want to use Marco Polo. Okay. So, because the chats are like, people are, well, what is that? Is that, and they're explaining it. You don't ever want that. Okay, never want that type of stuff in marketing. You want really clear, easy to understand. Anyway, my point is that some of you guys need to unleash yourself today. Am I correct or am I correct? Put yes in the chat. Some of you guys need to unleash yourself. Now, you can't let this woman stand in front of you, Crystal Bell, and say what she says, because she is proof that if she unleashed herself this week by watching these lives, by watching on demand, then guess what? You can too, unless you're unwilling or uncoachable. And so what level of resistance are you going to allow stop the resilience of your success from coming through? Because it's just not true, right? Awesome, Crystal. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, I'm excited to see what you create. Candace, Ash, not now, please.
Good morning. So for me, following through on the gratitude, just changing my mindset and the way that I approach things and view things and declaring what I want when I start to feel doubt or insecurity around a situation, or just negative self-talk, for instance, in a market where, oh, nothing is working, or it doesn't feel like anything's working, and just saying, no, that's just, an illusion, because that just means I'm closer to my miracle, closer to things breaking through,
You guys all should. Yeah, I'm going to highly recommend, for some of you guys that are open to it, you have to be into God, but you don't have to be into like the Bible per se, but it is the Bible. It's Hebrews 4 and 5, right? Hebrews 4 and 5. It's so powerful because it's like, how do you run away from dead work, right? Like, how do you advance into perfection? The foundation has already been laid for us to build upon, turn away from our dead work to embrace the faith, right? And so it talks about your promise, which is a miracle, right? Like, every single promise over our life is a miracle. And if we're really in the right headspace, we start to actually count the miracles versus look at the problems. However, there are seasons that we need to be delivered, or we need to be released from, it's like, how do you tell somebody that is in an abusive relationship to think like this, right? It's like, well, maybe it's time to be delivered from that. Like, deliver you out of that relationship into something different. So it's not about, this is, please don't judge me when I say this, but this is why A Course in Miracles ended up being a very dangerous game in the world, because when you read A Course in Miracles, there's more people sitting in problematic situations because they are told that this is your mirror, and they sit in it and turn themselves inside out to make it work, when really this is what you should be walking from. Do you know what I mean? Like this is the devil on the planet right now, right? And really understand it. Sorry if I bust your bubble if you love A Course in Miracles. I used to love it too, until I'm a marketer, so I start to spot the patterns. And as I started spotting the patterns and looking up the scriptures, they were out of context of the full book. I'm like, it's very different if you take, like if I give you feedback on something and you take this clip and go show it to someone and be like, look at how mean she is. It's like, okay, but you didn't see right before that when she sat with me for, 10 minutes and tried to love me through it and help me through it. And then she just had to interrupt it. You're only hearing that interruption. Now it looks like she's mean. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like you have to have the whole story to really understand something, which is why, if somebody comes to you with a gossip or a piece, you're like, listen, there's two sides to every single story, no matter what. Whether you're right or wrong about something, there's always two sides to every story. So I love that you're priming your mind this week to focus on your promises. And you're editing your words a little bit from the sounds of it, which is really good because it means that you're having a faith shift. And so Hebrews talks about how when you actually have the courage to have faith, right? Because we all have to climb out of something, right? You guys, like, there's no way we're getting through life without dropping into a pothole. Like money doesn't solve every problem. It solves a lot of them, but it doesn't solve every problem. And just because you get blessed with money because you get great ideas that you follow through on with your free will, right? And so I'm going to tell you, I am 100% sure that every single person watching right now has had $100,000, $500,000, and $1 million idea. And you haven't just had one. You've had a lot. You've had a lot. Because based on this beautiful book, and I've seen it, and I can catch the patterns, whether somebody is a believer in God or believer in luck. It's the same pattern. It's actually this, they're using their authority exactly the same. One just has learned it through personal development. One has learned it through leadership, personal development, and the word, right? But it's the same pattern. And so there's an authority that comes out of us that creates and literally multiplies money. And that authority is what I've been trying to really, without being too biblical on people, right, or too personal development-y on people, is to really get you to have an experience with it this week. That's why tomorrow I have languaging, right? I'm bringing on Lisa Kalman, and I'm going to have her really show you how, different, we're doing style flexing, but we're doing it in a very different way tomorrow than we've ever done it on the platform because it's designed for this week. And how do I get you to have an experience with an ultimate miracle this week? Has anybody had a miracle this week?
And so I got a phone call back because I've been reaching out to people, and I got a phone call back. So I got a really big account on something that I was working on in the area that I'm in. So the guy called me last night, and they had already picked somebody else to go with. And he made the phone call to the guy that made the decisions. And he said, we want to switch it over. So they were in the process last night of just canceling everything with this other company that they were getting ready to work with. And they got with me this morning. And so they're going to be working with me instead.
Okay. So what I want you all to understand is that's not luck. That is intention. That is being a part of this group together. That is a lot. Who's still using Heartcore Strong in your social media? Hashtag Heartcore Strong. You need to go share that story on Heartcore Strong, right? Hashtag Heartcore Strong. And so that people can find it, right? And it's the abbreviated story. I changed the way, and I'm going to teach you guys how to communicate here. I changed my negative self-talk into grabbing a hold of my authority and spotting how things were coming together. And through that, I landed a big client that already hired somebody else. They fired them and brought me on. And never leave people in your story. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Never leave people inspired without an action. It's not great leadership, right? You want to become wildly successful and seed plants that become massive harvests every freaking day. You should be figuring out, like, first of all, keep operating like this. And you're going to see more of that come to pass because you're standing in your authority. Okay. And don't be afraid. Like when people are like, okay, now you're going to get hit with all this stuff. You don't have to, right? That's people speaking things over you. And it's spiritual people do it. Religious people do it. Family members do it. They speak the fear right over you. And some of them do it under the context of being a great mentor or coach. Don't listen to it. Okay. Be like, that's not my story. Right? That's just not my story. And so anything tries to come your way, you just off now, and I'm not getting off. Right? I'm on, and you can go so many years, literally going mountaintop to mountaintop to mountaintop. And the only thing that will take you off is when people get in this mode of I'm good. That's a massive doorway, you guys. That's a massive opening, you guys. The minute you get into I'm good. I like my house, I'm good. I'm good with my marriage, I'm good with my health, I'm good. The minute you get that way, it becomes all about you. And when you become all about you, you open up the thresholds for something to hit you upside the head. Do not become complacent. Do not become complacent. And that's another thing that we all have to fight on the battlefield of this world, because people tell you you've done enough and rest. Listen, when you are on point and when you are in your passion and you are helping people, there is nothing about helping people that will ever create adrenal fatigue unless it's coming from the wrong place. When it's coming from a need to be important, a need to be right, a need to, in safety, and you get what I'm saying? Like when I gave from a martyr place, it was exhausting. But when you give from a place that is like, you do a video like I just said, or you do a post like I just said, when you say, I changed my negative self-talk, started to notice what was working in my life, I became really rigorous and took my authority back. And then a big client fired somebody they were hiring and hired me instead. You can't make this up. Where in your life are you holding yourself back? Where in your life are you holding yourself back? That something great or somebody is trying to love you that you're not allowing in. Stop it.
And that was the thing I got today, so there's these great things going on, these other awarenesses, which are kind of a little bit overwhelming initially, it's just that the safety piece was huge for me today. I realized that is a huge thing that I have to address.
Guys, you don't, so there's some of us that can activate blind faith and go for it, but you should not operate on, okay, so I'm going to get controversial here for a second. I'm going to pop you off, okay, Candace? I'm going to get controversial, and this is the thing with leadership is there's filters. Okay, so some of my biblical people might say that I'm not being biblical right now, and I want to be really clear about this. Blind faith is important, and blind faith has levels. It just does, right? When I was a girl who couldn't get my ass to the gym, or couldn't get myself, when I couldn't pay a bill to figure out how to pay that bill, when I was that girl, blind faith, like of just taking my mom's 401k was not smart. Not unless I had a coach to help me. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like that's not responsible. But what is powerful is like when you and this is why I said to you guys yesterday, if you have not done leadership, I'm telling you, you got to gift this to yourself. You got to give this to yourself because if you can't run your own plays in your own selfish little world, meaning that you can't take care of yourself, like you're still in a conversation that you're last in your life and that everybody else is before you or whatever that looks like. Are you guys hearing what I'm saying? Put yes if you can, right? Like what is it for you? Do you put yourself second? If you put yourself second, put a 2 you could be an 8, right? Or a 4, but you put yourself second, put a 2 so I can know what that is. You put yourself second, put a 2. Okay, so listen to me. Are you a good starter and a shitty finisher? Put an S in the chat if you're a good starter and a shitty finisher. If you're a good finisher, but you're a shitty starter, it takes you forever. It takes you forever. Like you have a dream, you have an aspiration, you know what you need to do, right? Eva, today, right? You know what you need to do, but you're like, oh my gosh, I'm such a slow starter because I'm going to go drink half a bottle of wine. So I don't have time to do that. Or I'm too like a little tipsy to do my exercise, or I'm going to get busy with my kids, or I'm going to sit in the soccer field. And I'm going to stare at my kids every single move. Not like you can't stop and just bring a little notebook and do your 50 ways to find the money, right? Like it's like all these reasons why. That's a shitty starter. You might be a good finisher. You might be reliable once you get going, but you're a shitty starter. If you're a shitty starter, put an S. Put an F if you're a shitty finisher, right? Put a 2 if you're someone who puts yourself second, third, fourth. You're really the last person on the thing, right? If you're someone who feels like you have to do it all, put all in the chat. Like you got nobody to rely on. Like, and even when you do, they always let you down. Put an A or an all in the chat. Okay, so all you guys just showed me, if I go pull the chat, is who the promoters are, who the controllers are, who the analyzers are, and who the supporters are. That's all you did. And the funny thing is you all think that all those things are who you are. You think that's just who you are, or you think, and the truth is you want to develop your leadership so you can style flex into all of that. Do you think that I would get anything done if I was in like just starter mode and not finisher? No. And that's who I used to be. I used to be a promoter, and I wanted to live in the light, and I wanted to have a great time. And everybody who wanted to talk about deadlines, or I just hated that stuff. It just irritated the heck out of me. And that's because I had leadership I didn't have leadership that followed me through all the way to finishment. Do you know I handled that in 3 months? Do you know how many millions of dollars and how many sleepless nights and how much debt I accumulated? Like we're talking like leadership is the most important thing. And you need to know this at every level of life. Do you know what I mean? Like the masterminds that I go into, there is no hand holding. There is a conversation like this, like how do you do something? Or what's the vision with that? Oh, nobody's like taking down notes or anything like that. They just take whatever they just grabbed in their head. They set an appointment in a very short amount of time, urgency, that day, the next day. It's literally within hours or 24 hours. They talk about, here's what I want to do based on this meeting I just had with somebody, and then they execute it imperfectly. And then they learn exactly what breaks along the way, and then they fix it. They are blind faith people. They've developed their leadership to a level that they're a good starter, they're a good finisher, and they're a good analyzer. They will figure it out. Analytics are amazing for making things perfect. You guys who have perfectionism problems or procrastination problems, I'm telling you, it's not a problem with you. It is actually a leadership breakdown, and you haven't figured out how to do it because people have told you to just not procrastinate. That is not a formula. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that is not a formula. Just don't procrastinate. Just make a decision. It's like, yeah, you could do that if somebody stands over you, right, Florida? Right? If I stand over you and I say, girl, I'm going to give you 2 seconds to make a decision. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Let's go. Right? And she will be able to find a decision if I keep bringing the pressure on. The problem is we live in a world that we are supposed to take the pressure off. And if we don't, we are bad society people. You get what I'm saying? Like, we have now watered ourselves down into a world that we don't talk about our value systems, and it's just better to not do that. I think they call it the cancel culture. It's probably called something else now because we keep labeling it, because every time, the devil knows every time you label something, it gives it importance. See, every time you label yourself, it gives it importance. Every time you label something, it gives it importance. It makes it have its own brand. I'm telling you, I used to be the worst procrastinator on the entire planet. And in 3 months, I completely took that out of me. That's wild to me, but not without a wake of broken heart moments with people and a rock in my confidence, which killed my worthiness. I was not born unworthy. I built unworthy. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't born unworthy. I built it. And then I re-edified that unworthiness with all of my leadership breakdowns. That's why I was pushing yesterday to go to joinhclnow.com. That's why it's 46 or 47% off. That's why I gave people the opportunity to be able to get marriage coaching if you're in a marriage in 5 days from now, by the way. In 5 days from now, I'm going to sit through that. Right? And 5 days from now. That's why I threw in teen training yesterday, right? The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because you got to know an open door when it's in front of you. Because what are you going to do? Sit on these lives all year and keep being the leader that either starts and doesn't finish, or you finish, but you don't, it takes you forever to start. I don't know about you, but how much freaking life do you have left? And how much, let me flip the story. How much do you want to experience? Do you know what I mean? Like, before you go bye-bye, like, what would you still like to experience? I would like to experience a self-managed company. I would like to experience that. I would like to experience at least 2 to 3 exits of companies. I would like to experience funding some entrepreneurs and giving them a leg up, but I'll tell you something, I will never fund you on your ideas. Never. Never. I'm not an idiot. I'm going to fund you on, can you start? Can you finish? Or are you scared to start? Where have you broken down and figured it out and fixed it? And how relentless are you to win? If you know you need to hire an accountant and you don't have the money, will you hire the accountant? Right? If you need to hire a business coach and you need to hire the business coach, right? Are you going to figure out how to get the cash to do that? If you need to pay for your son to get in school, how do you work that out in your mind? Pay for the first quarter, figure out the second quarter, right? Buy yourself some time, right? Or pay for the first half year, right? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's about what do you do up here in your leadership to be able to design a plan that you don't think is a pipe dream, but you actually can follow through with it because you can see it, it makes sense to you, and you're on the game plan. You're like, I'm on the field. Now, when you keep going to the fridge, you keep telling me why you are too busy to be able to create this in your life, all I know is you're at a leadership cap and you're unwilling to see something else. And that's the God honest truth. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Yes? Right? Like, it's time. And I believe 2024 can be, at least it will be for me. And you're seeing miracles on this board, right? Who got a miracle in the last week so far? Put an M in the chat. Angela, tell me your miracle real quick. Just real quick. We got to roll.
Money for me to actually have the assistance to build my funnel came in. Boom.
Yes, so good. What had to shift in you to be able to receive that?
Know that I'm making great product and ask for it.
Asking for it. There's a couple of you guys who've been able to get cash this week because you just asked for it.
And honestly, I was sitting in meditation, and I'm not going to lie to you. I got a text that literally from one of my other investors for another movie that said, "Hey, I see you're traveling. You want some traveling money?" And he dropped the money in my account.
Okay, you guys, I want you to just understand, like Candace just shared a moment where somebody else hired somebody else. I want you to pay attention to the patterns. Do you think it's a good thing to show up to these lives? This is not about me. This is about a covering over us right now. And if we stay together, it's going to get stronger. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to pop you off, Angela. Like, this stuff doesn't happen. You don't just have somebody drop money in your account. I had somebody just give me $5,000, right? Now that was a lot back then. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Has any of you guys had anybody in your life just say, I'm just going to give you $5,000, pay me back whenever? Like, unbelievable miracles, right? Candace's new client hired somebody else. And then they talked to her this morning and they fired them and they literally decided to redirect and go with her. Kelly, did you have a miracle? Let's pop Kelly up real quick. What was your miracle? I want you guys to realize if this is happening with them, what's going on with you behind closed doors that's resisting it, right?
There've been so many, just so many. Like, yesterday I was on the call with Ash and like just had this bam, I actually have a thing. So my real project is actually saving 1 million women and helping them when they've lost their children, like to move from that horrible grief to this amazing life that they can still have, even if they have that as part of their future, right?
Yeah.
But
So what was the
getting the
miracle?
money to get there, right? Getting the money to pay for the next 14-day payment, right? Is that fear, like, holy shit, how am I going to do this? But in talking through him, I already have a podcast that I've started. We got 10,000 followers after our very first podcast session, that I just have to give them that. I just need to catch their information, and I can give them something right now that I already have available in my arsenal. And I was making this so
Absolutely.
hard. I was making this so hard.
And you also could go into Mentor Me Live or go into a network and see if anybody wants more exposure and that there's sponsorship available. Give a ridiculous sponsorship, you know, for $600, I'll give you sponsorship for, 6 months, right? It's like $100 a month or whatever, right? If you want to do $1,000, I'll give you sponsorship for, the entire year. You get what I'm saying, you guys? Like, you're willing to
I didn't
do
even think about that. Thank you.
our proximity. So good, right? So there's another miracle, right? Florina, did you get a miracle this week? Florina, yes. Did you get a miracle this week? Fiona? Sorry, Fiona. Did you get a miracle this week? I don't know why you're not unmuting.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Yeah, I'm through. Do you know, I actually did. I was thinking about this because the ridiculous thing is I haven't been on the lives because I've been working. I've had family here every time. And this is the first time I've been on. But I actually did because I really did need a cash injection. And I'll be honest, I did actually pray on my knees. It's a very long time since I've done that. And what I was really praying for was to trust. And that same day, someone messaged me and said, listen, are you free to talk? I had given her coaching, waiting for her father's probate to come through. She said, I've got the money. Which account you want it in? And the money, £7,000, was in my account in 15 minutes. To me, that was, I know, that was a miracle. I'll take it.
You guys, but why not amplify on this? Like, this doesn't have to be like, first of all, I'm honored to coach you guys. You know what I mean? Like, I remember, like, I'm going to cry. Like, I remember sitting just wishing I had a business like this, wishing I had a team like I have at Heartcore, wishing I had graceful, loving, appreciative clients like you guys, right? And people like you guys. Some of you guys are meant to be live clients. Some of you guys are on demand, right? But it's like we can walk like this all the time. And this is why I got myself into the word, to be really honest. This is not about the word or trying to convert somebody, but it's like there was so much inconsistency. And I always say the atheist drops to their knees when it gets hard enough, right? And then they see a breakthrough. But I'm going to tell you, we can walk in these miracles all the time. And I've seen it over and over and over again. Like, I just challenged the women that I meet with every week. And I just challenged them. I said, before we meet, why don't we walk around and use our authority and walk through Dorado Beach and pray over our husbands or speak, you know what I mean? Just speak, just speak over them. Be like, instead of going to your husband or your wife or whatever and be like, oh my gosh, I wish they would be more kind, or I wish they'd be, it's like, my husband is kind. My husband is anointed. My husband is the head and not the tail. My husband is funded. Like, that's the stuff I started to do. And all of a sudden 2 million comes in, 1 million comes in, 200,000 comes in. And it just keeps growing. The house comes. Everybody keeps telling us, Darrell, like, you guys got the most amazing house, the most amazing deal. I'm like, this deal is everywhere. Like, why do we have to look at people out there in the world and be like, oh my gosh, like, they got lucky? Like, that is a pure lie, because that luckiness is happening to millions of people, like, right now. Think about, you guys, tap into the energy right now. There are hundreds of people, if not millions of people, that are surrendering right now. And they're like, you know what? It is too hard to do it on my own. And I am not accepting the fact that I am a failure or that there's something wrong with me. Like, I'm just not accepting that, because there's a lot of people that have been in the spot I'm in and they've broken through like that, like 24 hours, 48 hours, 1 week. And I'm going to see that. I'm going to have that happen. But then you need to be clear, what would that be? Is it, Eva, is it, you're like, it'd be a breakthrough if I got like $50,000 on a 0% credit line. And I didn't have to pay that back for a year. I don't have to use all 50,000, but maybe I'd use some of it to build a funnel for my business so it could be on Evergreen. And that funnel brings me, I'm going to say, I don't know why I want to say this, but 400 new clients this year. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I just left that lifestyle right there because of that. Do you know what I mean? And thank God I was on the on-demand for her and heard Michael Strasner speak yesterday and said, I need to get out of my own freaking way. What bullshit is this? I'm done, right? And she shifts, and then you're a part of this, but like, you've been busy, but you get down on your knees regardless. Like, I don't think that's an accident, right? Especially since it's not a normal thing. Right? You just felt called to do it all of a sudden, and then you got blessed. I mean, that's called a covering, right? It's a covering. And I'm telling you, like I'm telling you, that there is a covering, and there is a massive wake that started right before Zone Event, end of November last year. There was a massive breaking and an awakening, or called a covering. But I just saw all these people breaking, like, it's like the lies, the deceptions just melted. They just gone. And so I'm telling you, it's really important, you guys, that we stay engaged. You know what I mean? That we stay connected with each other. That's why I want you to use your miracle stories. And I want you to go use Heartcore Strong, hashtag Heartcore Strong. And I want you to go do it in the next 15 minutes. Okay, somewhere. Do it for contribution, do it for other people, because the more people who read the post, listen to the video, I want you to encourage them to stay connected with you, right? Encourage them to hit, like, follow my page. Right? Like, follow my page. Like, let's stay together. And together, let's literally tip people's mindsets so that we're out of, misery, and we're out of disbelief and self-confidence issues. Self-confidence issues is a hardening of the heart. Okay, so everything comes from that, right? We have a power there. Right? And so we gotta start believing again. So good. Oh, I love it. Gail popped her Heartcore Strong hat on. Awesome. Thank you, Fiona. Okay, Gail, we're gonna pop you up here for 1 second because she's wearing the Heartcore Strong hat.
Flip back on.
Flip it on. Yay!
For me, the miracle is that I've become a believer again. At Zone, I had a call in to ask a group of girls I was with to pray with me, which I haven't done for 7 years because I lost faith in what was happening to me. And now this week I've actually bought my new Bible, and with Zone Event girls I'm in with, I'm talking to the Lord again, which has made me, I'm tingling, has made me so happy that I'm back in. And just one last thing, I just put a thing for, there's a teenage HCL coming up, and they should all get their children to do it. So I think it's 24th and 25th of February.
Yeah.
Get in there. But yes, Thank you. That's my miracle, is I'm back and I feel good.
Ah, that's so good. I love that. Well, keep us, I'm going to pop you off. How many guys would like Rex Crane a couple years ago, I asked him to create a scripture roadmap when, you know how you do mantras, right? And I asked him to create a roadmap around really just amplifying your courage and your flow with what the scriptures say about your money. It's been written over 4,000 times about money, more than faith and more than prayer. So I think it's crazy for entrepreneurs to not be in the Word, because it really is our book. You know what I mean? Because it's so dominant on really having authority over the money and not have it be an idol for you. But I'm telling you, it blesses a lot of people. And it's written that we are supposed to make so much that we can become a blessing to other people. So then the question is your vision big enough? Right? And that, again, I really encourage you. HCL is not biblical, it's neutral, right? It's not biblical, it's neutral. None of the trainers are biblical, it's neutral. So don't go into that training going, Shannon, this isn't, it's not biblical, it's neutral. It is set up in a way so that you have the ability to lead and follow through. Jesus was a great leader. He went through a lot of moments of faith where he was tempted to give up, or he was tempted to choose the easier route, which ended up not being the easier route, right? And so when you look at like whether somebody's into the Lord or not into the Lord, there is a pattern on both sides that has a leadership authority that creates a result, like a big result. And so I really believe, and this is more of a Shandaism, not out of scripture, I believe the bigger our visions are to help people, the more money we'll make. Because it says that we are supposed to make a overflow of money specifically so we can bless other people, which to me says it's not just about what we're getting, although it is a poverty mindset to say, oh, I can't go buy $1 million home or a $5 million home because I should give it to someone else. That's a limited thinking. Right? How do you know, like my $6 million home or my $7 million home in California, like those homes, I can't tell you the meetings that have happened in these homes and the meetings that are about to happen here, and the salsa dancing that is, as all these doors are opened up, that are going to be happening with some pretty significant people at the end of March. And I can tell you there's going to be an explosion in Heartcore because of the people who are going to be here and the work that we're all going to be doing together. And it's 80 people, right? Like he didn't give me a small shack. He gave me a home that we could salsa dance all around the pool. Why are we salsa dancing? Doing life with great people that are up to big things is where the relationships get created. They're not just in how do we run this business plan? They're actually more on the golf course. I don't golf, but I tried. I'm gonna try again, okay? But I tried, but they are made more on the golf course, in the salsa classes, in the dinners, in the pickleball, in the tennis. They're done more on those courts than they ever are sitting literally at a desk looking at each other. Why? People want to know, how do you think? How do you think? Do I feel safe with you? If you think in a poverty way, then I'm telling you that's directly connected to your leadership. It's not connected to God. It's not connected to your spiritual stuff. It's not connected. There is no reason why you should be cursed around money at all, other than you may have dove into some of the stuff that has actually amplified that. So I want to be very, very clear. Join HCLnow.com. It's 46 or 47% off. There are two options there. Option one is you don't need a payment plan, $2,700. I will throw in the marriage retreat literally in 5 days from now. And if you want the teen training, I only made it available till 12 midnight last night. I'll give it to you today. I'm here for you to win. Do you know what I mean? Win. Go bless another kid. Be evangelistic. Help more kids become amazing. But know this, it is not biblical. It is leadership. Okay. Some people are like, yeah, I'm glad it's not biblical. I thank you for bearing with us. Right. But the flip side is, if you need a payment plan, I do have option number 2, where I'm happy to be the bank for you. I've made enough money to be the bank. I plan on continuing to figure out how to be more of the bank for people. And I'm moving in that direction because I want to be a blessing that is in overflow for people. So, and there's nothing wrong with you winning in the process. There ain't no shame in that game. You're an entrepreneur. You're supposed to be profitable. You're supposed to be helping a lot of people. And I'm telling you, if you haven't been able to run the ball to the finish line enough times, only you can say this. Do you feel safe that you are going to hit your goals this year? If the answer is no, you must not think about this. You must not sleep on this. You must literally go to joinhclnow.com. Click on that link or type it in, www.joinhclnow.com. I will be taking this down any day now. Okay. It's not going to be like going into all into next week. It's going to be taken down. So it's up to you to walk through a door when a door is there. Join HCLnow.com. If you do not feel safe, listen to me, in 2024, don't be crazy. Do not gamble with your future. Don't do that. I am certain that you will be successful. I am not allowed to give guarantees, but I can tell you that 99% of my clients, 99. I mean, it's not odd 2,000 people go through in a year. Okay, it's not odd 1,500 go through in a year. So I'm telling you, it's not just 20 people have been through this course. 99% of the people who have ever taken this course have hit their goals. So why not you? Okay, so trust yourself, convince whoever you need to convince to trust you, right? And get yourself in that door no matter what. When it becomes a non-negotiable, you'll figure it out. Join HCLnow.com. Tomorrow we have an amazing training with Lisa. Don't miss it. And we'll kind of start winding down our Miracle Week. All right, you guys, talk to you soon. Let's unmute the lines and say goodbye.
Bye,
Thank
Shonda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shonda.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
I'm Shonda.
Thank you.
So much.